Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you join me. I am in Birmingham, Snow Hill on the morning of day 2. I'm Machel St. Patrick here at one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, and I'm reflecting on day 1. Never mind the hairstyle. It is what it is, you know. Why for that? But ultimately, we got to reflect on day 1, and most of you will be watching this in the build-up to day 2, I would assume. I will not be at Edgbaston for day 2. My work is done. I'm about to head back to London, but Santoki is on his way to the ground, and he will be covering day 2 on behalf of CCP, and then both of us will be at Edgbaston for day 3. So, looking over day 1, West Indies 282 all out, having won the toss and chosen to bowl, and England 38 for 3 at stumps. Very much, given how England came out at the back end of the day, with their, I think we've got to rephrase Bazball. You know, I don't know if anyone's still using that phrase, but if they are, I think we should just call it Dunton Bolsey ball, because what England did in that last 35 minutes of the day was Dunton Bolsey. There's a way to, and I'm starting at the end of the day before going to the first start of the day. There is a way to impose yourself, and there is a way to say that this is the style of cricket that we play, and this is what we instruct our openers to do, and still, what do I want to say here? And still play cricket on its merits. It's not every ball must go to the boundary. It's not every ball must be. I mean, we often criticize West Indies for this, right? We often say, some of these in different formats, they just want to hit 4s and 6s, and sometimes you've just got to respect the ball in front of you. When Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett look back at their dismissals at the end of day 1, will they genuinely say to themselves, that's just the way we play, and sometimes it goes for us, sometimes it doesn't? Or will they look back and go, well, that was a bit Dunton Bolsey. Crawley chased a wide one from Jaden, and obviously well done to Jaden for getting the wickets. And maybe the West Indies think tank would say that Jaden was instructed to bowl it full and bowl it wide, and encouraged Crawley to go on the kind of expansive drive and nick off. Maybe that was the setup. Maybe that was the plan. If it was, it worked perfectly. Crawley nicked off. Duckett chased an even wider one from Alzari Joseph. No need to. Sometimes you can leave a ball, you know. Sometimes you can just leave a ball. Duckett chased an even wider one, chopped on back to his stumps, and he left early as well. I think Crawley got 17, Duckett 3. Obviously, they sent in Mark Wood as the night watchman, and Jaden produced a perler of a delivery. Wood had to play at that. And big up Jason Holder, 2 good catches. The first to dismiss Crawley, the second even harder and better to dismiss Mark Wood, which means West Indies end the day with 3 wickets already down for England, and going into day 2 on what is still, for me, very much a batting wicket. I think West Indies left at least, in my mind, based on what I saw live, I thought the minimum score on that first wicket. I thought the minimum score on that first day was 375 to 400. That's what it felt like. And I think when we go back over what happened in the West Indies innings, I think it would be fair to say that we gave some wickets away. I think the top order left at least 100 runs out there at minimum. And if you add that 100 on, that means we make 382. 382 you could at least justify and say was the bottom end of par. Chris Wokes was the post-match press conference guy for England. Jason was the guy for West Indies. And both of them indicated that it's still very much a batting wicket, and that you're going to have to toil and work hard for your wickets. I think the key person for West Indies today on day 2 will be Gudakesh Motie. I don't want to see Motie used as the guy we turn to after all the seamers have had a go. I said it during the first test, before the first test, after the first test. The way we look at Gudakesh Motie has to change. It's not you're the spinner, so you only come on after the seamers. Motie is a strike bowler in and of his own right, who you could bring in even at first change, some will say, some will laugh, I'm being serious, even at first change, maybe at second change, ahead of Jason. Obviously, Shamar Joseph will be the guy who gets the ball next after Jaden and Alzari get another kind of go at it in the first, 7, 8 overs of this morning. Then you'd go to Shamar. But I wouldn't hesitate to go to Gudakesh Multi before Jason Holder. Jason's role is different. Jason's not a strike bowler. Jason is a control holding bowler who picks up 1 or 2 wickets here and there, usually golden arm type wickets. Multi is a strike bowler, so I'd like to see him get involved in proceedings pretty early today to see what purchase he can get out of the wicket. And I think he will play a pretty critical role in this test match as it goes on. But anyways, pivoting back to how we batted at the start of day 1, Craig and Machel Louis put on what I think is their third 50-run partnership. And that's quite instructive because when Craig and John Campbell used to be the opening partners, and if you don't know, by the way, people, John Campbell's ban is over next month. So he can return to regional cricket and probably work his way back into West Indies contention. Now, John Campbell used to get a level of criticism because he would hit some flowing strokes, get to about late 20s, early 30s, and then often nick off. But him and Craig were actually relatively successful in putting on some 50-run opening partnerships, which sounds like very much at the small end of acceptability. But I mean, that's where we are as West Indies cricket. Machel Louis and Craig Brathwaite have now put on 3 50-run partnerships at the top of the order. Yes, Machel has been unable. I think his top score, let me just look. I think Michel's top score in the series, I'm just clicking on people. I swear it's like 27, but I just want to make sure I've got that correct. So Michel's top score in the series thus far, he's got 27-14, 21-17, and then 26 in this first innings. So he's got to start. Michel's got to start, and I know he'll be frustrated because he's got to start in every single innings, and he's spent time at the crease in every single innings. He's yet to just have that statement innings. Very much raw materials are there to work with, and you have to give him credit for being able to put on opening partnerships with Craig. It's fundamental that West Indies have an opening partnership that we can feel confident in, that can at least set some kind of tone. Machel went to a soft one, very similar to some of the 5 dismissals he's had in the series. I'd like to say that maybe 3 of them he's nicked off to slips or wicketkeeper after having done the hard work. And there's obviously some kind of technical, is it really technical or is it temperament? It's weird because Michel's good at leaving the ball and then he tends to get tempted by one, which he shouldn't get tempted by. Anyways, he's young. He's only 23 years old. We can work with it. He's got the materials. We're just looking for that statement knock, which hasn't come yet. Maybe it'll come when they head to Trinidad and Guyana for the South Africa Test Series. The problem is, of course, once Machel Louis fell, so the score when Machel Louis fell was 76 without loss. Great opening start by him and Craig. Craig again playing a more fluent innings. People may remember that Craig did this in Sri Lanka. So a lot of people are like, oh, we didn't know, we weren't familiar with this part of Craig's game. Craig has this in his locker. He did it in Sri Lanka. Go look up what happened at that Sri Lanka tour, where Craig surprised everyone by playing a bit more expansively at the top of the order, right? And it allows, I encourage Craig to do that. He did it at Trent Bridge as well with a 48 and a 47, and he's now followed it up with a 61, which apparently wasn't actually out because he took his glove off the bat, but whatever. When Craig plays a bit more fluently, it allows the newbie at the other end that he's opening with to get into their work and to try and figure out and work out how they play at this level of cricket. If Craig decided to go slow at the top of the creases or at the top of the order as well, then yes, when we lose that first wicket, they've put on a partnership in terms of balls faced, but the scoreboard's possibly only saying 40, if you see what I mean. Anyways, him and Machel put on 76, good start. The problem, of course, was that Kurt McKenzie was coming next. And thus far in this series, Kurt McKenzie has been a walking wicket. There's no disrespect to the young man. It's just facts. 1 duck, 11, 1. And in this first innings, he fell for 12. Clearly, I think they've been speaking to him. He hit 3 fours. In fact, those were all his scoring shots. 3 fours, 12. Was dismissed again with, He hit 3 4s, which is how he scored his 12 runs, but was dismissed again, having faced less than 10 balls. Was it a good knock? I mean, the 3 4s were good, sparkling drives, and possibly Kirk has told himself, boy, I'm under the pump, I'm totally out of form. Let me go back to what I know to do best, which is counter-attacking, punches, drives down, drives through the covers, etc. However, at the top level of cricket, how long are you going to be able to get away with that before there's a ball on your name? And England set a field which must have told Kurt McKenzie, go on the hook, go on the pull. You're going to get a bouncer. And then I think it was Mark Wood. Was it Wood? Yeah. Wood Bolden swinging full delivery at pace, 91 miles per hour. Kirk pulled out the big booming drive again, and his stumps were licked down. Everyone was cussing as per usual. Listen, I'm not here to get Kirk. I'm not here to get Kirk. And the thing is this, right? This is why I always say that when it comes to insularity, you can never put that on me. I'm Jamaican born. Jamaica, my heart bleeds for Jamaica. That's my country. Kirk is my countryman. I can't defend it. Can't defend it. Kirk is horribly out of form. Both Santoki and I expected him to play at Edgbaston. So this isn't a knock on the think tank. This isn't a knock on Coley or Craig or Jimmy or whoever else has a say in who plays in the test team. We expected Kirk to play at Nottingham. At Edgbaston. We expected them to try and give him a go to find a way through this. After all, that's how you learn, right? He just looks woefully out of form. He looks like if he's not trying to counter punch and try and hit balls for 4, he looks like he's unsure of where the ball is moving, how clear he is of where his off stump is. He looks like any delivery could get him out. Again, that's not meant to be a criticism of the young man. I'm just calling it how I see it. He looks like he won't be there for a long time every time he comes to the crease. So when the first wicket falls, I'm often saying to myself, well, boy, the second one's coming very soon, isn't it? So as soon as the first one goes, I'm like, add another wicket on, because it's going to be whatever the score is for 2 very quickly. So Kirk fell. It was 93 for 2 when Kirk fell. Alec came out, faced 7 balls and gave it away just on the stroke of lunch. Again, chopped one on. Was the ball there to be pulled? Yes, actually. You could argue the ball was there to be pulled. You could argue that it was poor execution rather than poor shot selection, because the ball was there. I'm no international batter. I think the ball was there to be pulled. That's not my issue. I don't think the shot selection per se was wrong, in that I get why you'd want to play that shot. My issue again, and I go back to temperament, similar to what I just said to Kirk there. And remember, I've got stocks in Alec. Unlike Kirk, I've got stocks in Alec, right? I believe that Alec will go on to be a competent international cricketer, right? However, it's about game awareness and game situation more than whether that shot was on. You know, it's on the stroke of lunch. I think it was 12:58 when that ball was bowled, or 12:59. Common sense for me says, who cares if the ball's in your slot? Leave it. You could have left that ball. It wasn't going to hit the stumps. Lunch is literally around the corner. That's the criticism, not the shot, not the decision that said, I think that's in my arc. It was in his arc. It was there to be hit. But play the situation at that point in time at 12:58, 12:59. Play the situation, don't play the shot. That might sound a bit muddled, and I hope people kind of understand what I mean there. That was my disappointment, more so than the shot itself. I was just looking at the clock going, but you didn't need to. Now wasn't the time. Whether it was there or not, now's not the time. Let it pass. Let's go to lunch. Let's reflect. It would have been 97 for 2. We're moving. As it was, we went into lunch 97 for 3. I haven't got time to go and look at the stats right now, but somebody in the comments below, how many times in this series have we gone into lunch with 3 wickets down or 4 wickets, or 3 wickets down or more? And I just think it always puts you on the back foot. Anyways, we resumed after lunch now with Craig and Kavem at the crease. And Craig unfortunately fell early. for 61. Good knock all the same, first half century in a while. But again, we said that he'd returned to form at Trent Bridge, and we were proved right at Edgbaston. He's now gone 48, 47, 61. Of course, there will be people in the comments below this video who will say, nah, he's supposed to hit centuries. He's supposed to carry us back through, as if he's supposed to do it all on his own. The reality is Craig is back in form. And as we go into the South Africa Test series in Trinidad and Guyana, we should be glad that Craig is back in form, because we need somebody in that top 5 who we can rely on to score some kind of runs. And as ever, as we always say with West Indies cricket, if Craig scores some level of runs, it always puts us in a better position. If Craig doesn't score runs, we tend to be scrambling because we know that quick wickets are going to fall at the other end. Craig fell. Apparently it wasn't out. Like I said earlier on in the piece, apparently his hand was off the bat, or the glove was off the bat, so shouldn't have counted. I've not watched it back yet in slow-mo to see if that's the case, but that's what someone sent me. I'm just letting you lot know. Craig fell, and then Kavem. I mean, you lot have a poll. Whose dismissal was the worst, Kirk's, Alex, or Kavem's? I think it was Kavem. Yes, I know Kavem scored 120 at Trent Bridge, but everyone only remembers what you do in your next innings, right? And in this one, having got himself to 13 off 11 balls, 2 fours, he left a straight one. He left a straight one. And I mean, Kavem spoke to us a few days ago and said the hardest thing to do in England is judging how to leave the ball off a length. Kavem saw a ball on a length from, who was it, Chris Wilkes? Chris Wilkes, and said, yeah, let me leave this one. Kissed the off stump, wicket gone. Nothing looks worse to the casual viewer than when a batter leaves a ball that goes on to hit your stumps. It always makes you look stupid. It made Kavem look stupid. Now, at that point, West Indies were 115 for 5. Pure stoopsing was going on. Pure stoopsing. What can you do at that point? You have to stoops, yes? And I was like, boy, we're in the mire. We're in the mire. It's up to Jason and Josh to try and produce something. They needed to lean into their test match experience. Josh is only 25 years old, 26, and we're asking him to lean into his test match experience like he's been out here for time. How many test matches has Josh played? This is Josh's 29th test match. So he's young in the game, and we're at a point where we're saying to him and Jason, boy, lean into what test match experience you've got and try find a way. They found a way. Big up Josh and Jason. Josh and Jason put on a 100+ run partnership. By the time that Josh was dismissed, and it was soft from Josh, it was really soft, they put on a 109 run partnership. So when Josh was dismissed, chasing a really wide one, I think he was trying to guide it down to third man. It was so soft. He was on 49. You could see he was a bit fidgety, looking for that one to take him to a 50. Edges it behind to Jamie Smith, who was the bowler. Wilkes again. It was so soft. It was so soft. It was almost like, you know, when you watch the fielding coaches do slip catching practice, it was basically that. Josh gave Jamie Smith catching practice. And I don't need to say anymore. You could tell Josh's reaction walking off the pitch was, what have I done? And they'd worked so hard as well. Him and Jason had basically looked unflustered, putting on that 109 run partnership, which again speaks to the fact that if you get in, there are runs to be made on this wicket. But anyways, they recovered the situation. We have to give them credit for that. They got us to 224 for 6 when Josh fell for 49. Josh is currently, for those who don't know, Josh is currently the West Indian batter doing best in this series. Let me just bring up the stats. Because this is quite interesting, because I know some of you who watch these videos love to criticize certain batters more than others in our team and criticize certain performers more than others. But then when people give you the stats about who's actually doing well, people want to go silent. So let me just give you a lot of the stats. With 1 innings to go of West Indian batting in this series, these are the stats. Sorry, I'm giving you the wrong stats, people. I was just reading that going, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. It was the ICC. Hold on, people. This is going to take a while now to load up. Now I've picked the wrong thing. Here we go. Bear with me. Here we go. Right. So West Indies batting stats in this series thus far. Josh De Silva, 154 runs at 39 apiece. Craig Brathwaite, I'm just giving you the top ones. Craig Brathwaite, 166 runs. So he's actually our top run scorer at 33 apiece. Kavem Hodge, 161 runs at 32 apiece. And then Jason Holder, the fourth highest run scorer in our team, 143 runs at 29 apiece. Then it's Alec, then Louis, and Kurt McKenzie is actually the worst performing person in the team. So Josh has contributed the best in the series in terms of averages. Craig is the top run scorer for West Indies in the series. And Jason is up there as well. So there you go, some of the most criticized players that people have so much time to get into the comments and go, they're the ones who've actually put in the best performances. Go figure, eh? So anyways, back to the game itself. So Josh fell 224 for 6. And that 224 for 6 with Jason then batting with the tail, you're in that kind of situation where you're like, well, let's just see how many more we can get. And to be fair, if I can find it, to be fair, given when Jason lost his wicket, because Alzari Joseph did what Alzari Joseph does, which is tries to play an attacking innings. I'm critical. I'm not going to lie. I'm critical of it. I think that Alzari does this too much, where he comes in. Remember, Alzari's batting at Test match number 8. For me, again, everyone get in the comments below. Let me know what you believe. Your Test match number 8 in modern day Test cricket is supposed to be able to bat. You're not, to me personally, you're not supposed to come out and try and hit fours and almost play like quick cricket. You're playing frantic cricket, like you're not there to build an innings. Alzari scored 15. He actually faced 31 balls. Surprisingly, I thought it wasn't that many, but he never looked like. Some of you will say that I'm being overcritical. I'm just saying this is how I felt in the press box. He never looked like he was there to construct an innings. He could have been out much earlier than he was. He looked like he wanted to score boundaries and boundaries alone. And I'm critical of that because obviously we can't compare him to Chris Wilkes. Chris Wilkes is a good batter in and of his own rights, and he bats 8 for England. But I'm expecting my number 8 to at least play the situation. And the situation at the point that he came in was we're 224 for 6, and we need to try and eke out as many runs as possible. We need players now, the tail from Alzari onwards, to grit it out. I don't think he was gritting it out. I think he was there to play shots. Don't agree with that approach. Anyways, he scored 15 before eventually one of his shots, he played one shot too many, lofted one, soft one, straight to Ben Stokes, who was stationed at, I want to say, mid-off, and he fell. So then we were 244 for 7. Jason literally fell 2 balls later, bowled by Gus Atkinson. And at that point, 246 for 8. I turned to one of the journalists next to me and I said, if West Indies can get to 270, we've done well from here. They eventually got to 282. Between Multi got 8, Seal 7 not out. Shamar Joseph licked down a couple runs to get to 16, and that got us to 282. What I will say is this: given where we were at 115 for 5, I think every West Indian fan would have bitten your hand off for 282. Do I think 282 is a good enough score when you've chosen to bat first on an Edgbaston wicket? No. However, given at the close of play we managed to get England to 38 for 3, I think we end day 1 saying, even Stevens, now let's see how day 2 goes. I think England are still very much in the box seat. You have to remember that at the crease right now for England are Ollie Pope and Joe Root. Them man love to accumulate runs in England. Then Harry Brook comes, then Ben Stokes, then Jamie Smith, then Chris Wilkes. The point I'm making is I've just said 6 people there who can all bat. It's not like this is a problem with this England team at home. It's not like you make your, as much as I can say 38 for 3, yeah, we're in this and we are. There's a next man coming who can bat, and then a next man coming who can bat. England's greatest strength, however, is also their greatest weakness, which is that a lot of them buy into this dunce and bossy approach no matter what. So it all depends on how England approach this. Straightforward test match batting, whilst mixed in with a tiny bit of dunce and bossy, will get them ahead of West Indies probably quite comfortably. Dunce and bossy batting mixed in with the occasional hint of just straightforward test match batting and playing the ball on its merits may give West Indies a little window to really be in this match. But we can only call it as we see it right now. Going into the start of day 2, things are even. Big up West Indies, strong performance to recover from 115 for 5 and then end the day with England 3 wickets down. However England contributed to that or not is irrelevant. Ended the day with England 3 wickets down. And again, it keeps in trend with what Santoki and I have said. Lords was a shambles. Trent Bridge was significantly better. And thus far, after one day at Edgbaston, it's competitive again. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. As ever, you can see the ticker tape below. X, Instagram, at Carib Cricket. Go into Google, type Caribbean Cricket Podcast. You'll find all the different socials. Add all of them. Subscribe before you go. Like the video before you go. And if you want to contribute to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket and spare us £1, £1, £1 rupee, one whatever your currency is. Let's keep the wave going. Santoki will be there today, people. Lock into all of our socials, lock into the channels, rally around the West Indies.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules seem coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.